Hello and welcome back to another morning shower aha moment. My name is Suzanne and I am your intuition coach. So, have you ever followed your intuitive guidance only to feel like you followed the wrong path, or you felt betrayed or let down? You followed that gut impulse only to realize it was misguidance. I mean, I know I have. And in hindsight, I wished I had a magic checklist before I acted on my so-called crappy guidance. I mean, in retrospect, my intuition wasn't bad. It was actually my own warped interpretation of the intuition that misguided me. So if I had an intuition checklist, I could have avoided, so many hard lessons, and I could have avoided having to, backtrack and pinpoint exactly where I went off track, missing important pieces of the puzzle. So in this morning shower aha moment, I'm going to share with you the top 3 red flags you might experience and that I have identified as the intuitive hit buzzkills that have misguided me from my own intuition, ultimately killing my good intuitive decisions. So those 3 red flag buzzkills are: number 1, you don't like the intuitive information you are receiving. Okay? Number 2, you focus on the how and force an outcome. Number 3, you become consumed with the opinions of others. Now, later on in this message, I will go into more detail and teach you how to navigate through these pesky distractions. Okay? So these 3 red flags will lead you down the shiny object path of distractions that will seduce you away from your intuitive guidance, really misleading you into the land of, wishful thinking or hyper rationalization, and will ultimately misguide you. And I know this all too well. I mean, I know my mind can sometimes be a slave to rational thinking, and my mind can be addicted to reason. And if I'm not conscious of its craziness, my mind just goes amok, right? So when I feel betrayed by my own intuition, or I feel like my guidance system is off, I've learned to make it a practice to get really honest and backtrack to the critical steps where I probably missed a few subtle or not so subtle signs, and I allow hindsight to show me where I was actually denying the truth to something that, I was not ready to face right then, right? So following your intuition, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of honest reflection and a lot of conscious awareness, which can be a bit exhausting at first. But when you get really good at following your intuition, it feels as natural as breathing. You don't even have to think about it anymore. And the key point is, you don't have to reason with your inner wisdom anymore. You are basically living your intuitive sense as you trust in it as much as, you trust in your eyes to see or your ears to hear. So if you are really serious about trusting your intuition and you want to minimize the heartache of, misguidance, I've got several tips for you. But first, I want to really acknowledge that when you are beginning to trust your own intuitive guidance, it's like walking the most slippery, sloppy path that you've ever experienced. And the reason for this is because, it's nearly impossible to be completely unbiased and non-judgmental about yourself. Think about it. Not only are you receiving the guidance, but then you are also the one who is filtering the information you're receiving. It's like playing 2 roles in a screenplay. You've got one character within you who plays the role of the ego, and the other role who plays the character of your fully actualized divine self. I mean, wow, right? Like, talk about a contrast. So when I have reflected back to where I have gone astray from my own intuitive guidance, I have identified where I have blocked or silenced my own quiet inner voice, and instead I listened to my wounded and noisy ego. So I want to help you alleviate unnecessary suffering. Sure, there's always, lessons to be learned, growth and I don't know, all that rainbow and silver lining stuff that I love, but sometimes I don't want to find the bright side. I just want to avoid the pain altogether. And we all know that heartbreaking life lessons suck. And if we can avoid the pain, I mean, why not avoid it, right? So let's break down those 3 red flags, okay? So red flag number 1 is you don't like the intuitive information you are receiving. So in other words, you don't like the answer. Now, I want to be clear. Sometimes we don't like the answer because it scares the heck out of us. I mean, I remember when I was given an opportunity to speak in front of people, and oh my God, my first gut response was hell's no. But that wasn't my intuition. That was my fear. So very different, right? Well, this red flag is all about when you are emotionally invested in the outcome. Your wants and desires trump the facts of what's at hand. If you have an emotional preference to the outcome, this is a huge red flag that you might begin to fall off the path of objectivity, and you will lose your grounded center, to really take clear action. So you can't be intuitively clear if your mind is clouded with preferences and expectations. I mean, say you have the opportunity to go into a partnership or business, with someone you really, really care about. You like them, but you notice their partnership track record is a little iffy, or they bail out when the going gets tough, right? Your intuitive guidance tells you to enter cautiously. However, you really want to move forward with this partnership, and so you do, with both feet. Well, this leads you right into the belly of red flag number 2. So red flag number 2 is you focus on the how and force an outcome. So the emotional reaction of the first red flag leads you right into the seductive path of control and how to make what you want happen. You will begin immediately to fill in the blank spots of the unknown. So if you focus on the how to make it happen, you will begin to control all of the new incoming information, rationalizing the unknowns and filling in the blanks of, uncertainty, controlling every step of the way, moving your egoic desires forward, not allowing your intuitive guidance to give you more divine information. So most likely, you will rationalize the partnership as a positive endeavor, denying the signs that tell you otherwise. Now, this is when it's best to get clear by being honest about your fears of the unknown. Surrender and wait for a clear sign before moving forward. So, if you end up moving forward against your better inner guidance, you might unconsciously begin to look to your external guidance, which will land you smack dab in the red flag number 3, which is you become consumed with the opinions of other people. You might begin to be more concerned with acceptance and belonging, and focus more on approval ratings to avoid rejection or the fear of losing, status in a group or organization. This is when you want to get clear on how you feel about the opinions and judgments of others. And if you are concerned about the opinions of others, you will really be knocked off your intuitive path. Now, this is really tricky because there are real concerns that need to be addressed, such as, if children are involved, or if you are in a committed relationship, it's so appropriate to involve your partner for open and honest discussions without blame or, without convincing or expecting another to understand you, right? And I know it's so much easier said than done, but for the purpose of this message, I really just wanted to bring light to the idea that you might be too concerned with your external influences, which will silence your internal knowings. And if so, this can be a red flag. So there you have it. This was a long message, but I know if you take this honest, heart-centered approach when you are making important decisions in your life, you might avoid pain and a lot of suffering. So your health and well-being will thank you for it. And if you want to get one-on-one coaching with me, you can always contact me at revivewithenergy.com. And until next time, take care and know that we are all in this together. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.